Bonjour les adorables, this is Llyane Stanfield and this is Français Sunday, the free webinar. I hope the technology is going to help. I just had a disconnect right now, so bear with me. I'm going to have a full-fledged webinar for you. My name is Llyane Stanfield and you can find me at learnparisianfrench.com. And today is a free webinar and I would like you to ask your questions under the video below. We are going to have 3 topics, the most popular topics, everything that people have been asking me, the most. And I wanted to do this also because the early registration for the intensive program ends tomorrow. I have 1 spot left, and today, only during this webinar, I am giving 20 free Skype classes when you register for the intensive program. So during this webinar, if you register for the intensive program, you get from me 20 additional Skype classes for free as a bonus. So I'm going to continue with everything that I'm talking about here. It's really interesting what's going on here. Okay, so I'm looking, they changed the application, so bear with me. I'm hoping technology is working for me, and so please confirm, please write in the comments questions. As well as, don't forget, only during this webinar, you're going to get from me 20 free Skype classes when you register for the intensive program. Now, let me just check, because I'm checking here on my laptop. Yes, perfect. So, what I'm going to start with, it's going to be, let me just check that everything's great. Okay, so excellent. Yes, everything works. So what I'm going to talk about today is the possessive adjectives, pronouns are adjectives. Mon, ton, son, ma tasse, mes tasses, notre, votre, leur, nos, vos, leurs. So I'm going to talk about all this. And again, because I have a lot of comments and questions about this, and apparently a lot of people are very concerned and they don't quite manage them that well. So today I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about it in French, which can be le, la, or il, elle. And also, what am I talking about? Oh yeah, the feminine, the genders. So that's really important because a lot of people have problems with the genders, and so I want to go over the genders and the types of adjectives. So because the genders, feminine, masculine, reflect into the adjectives, into the sentence. So you can't ignore that. And so I want to show you the types of the adjectives, or how do you show that something, something is feminine. How does that reflect into your sentence? What is the consequence? Is that important? How do you learn them, and all that nice stuff? So again, don't forget, I'm going to keep reminding you, during this webinar only, you will get 20 free Skype classes with me when you register for the intensive program. So you have to register for the intensive program. You go to learnparisianfrenchonline.com, register there, and I'm going to give you a bonus of 20 Skype classes with me. 1 hour Skype classes, 20 hours, so that's perfect. I just adore this when I can do this. Okay, cool. So I'm going to start, and I'll keep reminding you through the webinar so that you can jump on the program. I only have 1 spot left for the free, early registration. So please go, please, as in come and let's do this French together. Let's get over the hump. Let's not have any problem anymore, any challenge anymore. Let's get supported. and let's have French as a tool for communication, and let's get away from studying French and being stuck or staying stuck into learning rather than using it, enjoying it, traveling, and so on. All right. So, possessive adjectives. I am going to give you everything that this video is going to be shared into my group, and that's where I'm going to actually write the transcript because it's pretty long, but the transcript is going to be offered available for you when you go into the group. But stay with me right now. The most important thing right now is to ask you questions, to stay with me, to listen to what I'm explaining here, and to register for the intensive program, because only in this webinar you can get this bonus of 20 free hours on Skype with me when you register for the intensive program, and you do that at learnparisianfrenchonline.com. That's where you find the intensive program. Okay, possessive adjectives. So we're talking about adjectives, we're talking about possession, someone has something, and we are talking about pronouns, as in, you know, my mother's cookies is not a pronoun, is the noun mother's cookies. But if I say her cookies, that's where is a pronoun and is an adjective, because it can be the big cookie, the chocolate cookie, my mom's cookie, right? Or her cookie. So that's what we're talking about right now. So it's a little trick that I teach that's helps a lot of people, and apparently a lot of you, because you had a lot to say about this in the other video that I had, live streaming that I had about this. It's a little trick. How do you remember? Mon, ton, son, ma, ta, sa, notre, votre, leur, nos, vos, leurs. How do we remember that? So we categorize these possessive adjectives into 4 categories. And so it's going to be one-to-one, as in one owner to one object owned, whereas mon, ton, son, ma, ta, sa. So I'm going to give you examples. Please take notes. So I'm going to give you examples. Mon livre, ton cahier, son crayon. Ma tête, ta poupée, sa bicyclette. So this is the first category, one-to-one. Again, the transcript is going to be available in the group, and I'm going to put the link to the group after I'm done with the webinar. The second category, one-to-many. So that's going to be notre, votre, wait a second, what am I forgetting here? Yeah, one-to-many. So there's gonna be notre, no, that's many to one. So let's go to many to one. Notre, votre, leur. So notre maison, votre voiture, leur classe, leur classe. So we're talking about more owners and one item owned. We are more in the house, and we have one house, so that is notre maison. Then we're talking about more owners to more items owned. So we are 2, you and I. I'm assuming there's a you there, right? So you and I have, I have a phone, you have a phone. Nos téléphones. Our phones, right? So we are more and the phones are more. Nos téléphones, vos voyages. But see, you don't quite see that, but if you think, you need to know that is a plural, your trips, vos voyages. Leur ordinateur, they are more, computers are more. So I want to see, I would like to know some questions there, and I want to see if there's anybody who has any question about these categories so far. I wanted to also point out the fact that as soon as the plural came into play, the genders disappeared. So when I said mon cahier, ton, son, ma, ta, sa, we have genders. But when we have notre, votre, leur, nos voleurs, then we don't have genders anymore, right? Or actually, the form is the same for both genders. So I'm going to give you a quick second for questions, and then I'm going to continue. Okay, no questions, good. So I'm going to add the fourth category, which is one owner to more items owned. Mes, tes, ses. Mes cahiers, mes cahiers, my notebooks. Tes robes, your dresses. Ces livres. Anything can work. I was just looking for something that is that shows that is in the plural. Oh, chapeau, chapeau. No, cheval, chevaux. Okay, so that's clear. Mes chevaux, tes chevaux. Yeah. So those are the four categories, and I'm going to review them. Just to quickly review them, and I'm gonna wait for some questions here. If you don't have any, I'm gonna continue. So I'm gonna review the four categories. One to one owner to one object owned. Mon, ton, son, mon, ton, son, ma, ta, sa. One owner to more object owned. Mes, tes, ses. More owners to one object owned. Notre, votre, leur. More owners to more object owned. Nos, vos, leurs. I'm not looking on any notes, so everything is going into my head right now. So those are the four categories. One to one, mon, ton, son, ma, ta, sa. One to many, mes, tes, ses. Many to one, notre, votre, leur. Many to many, nos, vos, leurs. So let me know if you have any questions. Please put your questions in the comments below. I want again to remind you that only during this webinar you're going to have access, or you're going to earn a bonus of 20 Skype classes with me when you register for the intensive program. And to register for the intensive program, go to learnparisianfrenchonline.com. The second topic that I wanted to talk to you about is how do we translate it in French? So how do we use the word it in French? And there is a way, it's going to be a pronoun, right? So pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. So it's never going to be any other part of the speech. Is going to only have to be a pronoun. All these, and also the possessive adjectives were also pronouns, right? And so when I say, for instance, prends le livre, je prends le livre, je le prends. Prends le livre, je prends le livre, je le prends. So notice that, so you take the book, I take the book, I take it. Notice that it is masculine because the noun that I replace, or yeah, it's a pronoun, and so the noun that I replaced, the noun that I replace in this sentence is masculine. So je le prends. Also, what's very important to know is that le, or the it, is always placed before the verb. It's so important because it makes you think ahead, one step ahead. So it's not so much, it's not going to be only the fact that you have to know the gender of the noun that you're replacing, that, you know, with it, but also to think about it one step ahead and place it before the verb. Je le prends. mange la pomme, je mange la pomme, je la mange. Eat the apple, I eat the apple, I eat it. But I eat, right? So be very careful that it's always very important that you remember, first of all, you know your genders. And secondly, that you remember to put the word it in front of the verb. Now, when I made the video last time about this topic, someone, Peter I think it was, asked me, but also we can say it in French by using il or elle, and that's so true. It is a little more, yeah, actually it works to remember the fact that in English we don't have genders for objects, and so it's going to be I see, either you think about it as, well, everything has gender, so I can very well replace with her or him, or you just have to remember the fact that il or elle are the pronouns that you use in order to express the word it. So either, I don't know exactly, and that's the thing. I mean, when I work with one-on-one, then I know how your brain works, and I know exactly what explanation works better for you. But I'm going to say that maybe those are the two situations that you may find yourself in, and it comes from the fact that it's very difficult to think that every object has a gender. The table is a girl, the book is a boy. So now let's find examples with it as in il or elle. Il or elle. Yes, il or elle. Prends le livre, il est sur la table. Take the book, it is on the table, or he is on the table, because the book is masculine, right? It's a boy. Mange la pomme, elle est sur la table. It is on the table again. Mange la pomme, eat the apple, it is on the table. But if you, yeah, see, that's the thing. If you want to just translate it with il or elle, le or la, then it's a memorization thing. It's a memorization process in your mind. But if you really think about it and really assimilate the fact that you could say he or she, then your translation is going to be much faster and much smoother. Just a recommendation, may not work for everybody, or it may not work for you yet, not right now. But in the future, if you go into the he or she, maybe that's going to be a little easier. I'm thinking it's going to be so much easier for you to use the pronouns that I suggested. So this is how you use it in French. I do know that those are some things that work a little harder for most. Oh my God, so many. And I don't see them on the phone, so I'm so sorry. I can see now on the computer that I have a lot of comments. Let me just do this because I don't see them on the phone. Okay. I'm going to answer the questions. They don't appear on the phone apparently. Okay, let me see. Oh, I have a question. How do you add me on Skype? You can't. You have to be my student to add me on Skype. So unfortunately, if you want to be on Skype, yeah, if you want to have my Skype, you have to be my student. And to be my student, you have to go to learnparisianfrenchonline.com to register for the program. And if you register for the program right now during this webinar, you are getting 20 hours, additional hours for free with your intensive program, and that's amazing. So I'm still looking at the comments. Thank you so much for the questions. Please go ahead and ask questions now. I'm actually looking because on the phone they don't appear, but on my laptop I can see them, so I can answer right away. Again, don't forget, during this webinar only, you get 20 Skype classes for free, additional to the 19 that are 21 that are coming with the intensive program. It is an amazing program, and if you go to learnparisianfrenchonline.com, you will see exactly what's included in there, and only during this webinar, and I'm going to hold it for as long as needed, and of course, let me just refresh the page, and of course I'm going to answer all the questions. Salut. So we talked about the possessive adjectives, which are pronouns, possessive adjectives. Mon, ton, son, ma, ta, sa, mette, c'est, notre, votre, leur, nos, vos, leurs. And how do we... Okay, no, I can't see the comments anymore. That's just technology. Wow. And how do we... They disappear. Interesting. And how do we use them, and how do we categorize them? So one-to-one, mon, ton, son, ma, ta, sa. One-to-many, mette, c'est. Many-to-one, notre, votre, leur. Many-to-many, nos, vos, leurs. And then it's the owner, and then the objects owned. And the second topic that I cover today is how do we express the word it in French. My huge recommendation is that you start thinking that objects have genders, as in instead of it, use she or he, and this way it's going to be so much easier. You're going to replace with le, la, or il, elle, and that's so much easier. And again, I'm reminding you that only during this webinar I can't register on site. Jobins, thank you so much for the question. Let's get on the phone on Skype. I do have your Skype. I think I do have your Skype. So after this webinar, I'm gonna call you on Skype, and I'm gonna walk you through and help you register, and I'm gonna give you the 20 additional Skype classes, of course, because you are here on the webinar. Jobins Philip, thank you so much. You've been on my newsletter forever. I really appreciate you so much. You don't know, and I'm sure that French, I know you are in Canada, so French is so important for a job for you, and so I definitely will give you the 20 Skype classes, but I am keeping the spots open. I said I only had one spot, but that is for the extended, sorry, the early bird registration. On this webinar, please go ahead and feel free to register for the intensive program. This is a special situation, special occasion that I offer to everybody, having this additional Skype classes, answering more questions. Thank you, very welcome. I'm so happy that I got to see. My phone doesn't show any comment, and so thank God I actually have the laptop, and I could see a question. I don't know why the comments disappear. So I'm gonna keep an eye on the comments and keep looking and watching, and I'm gonna answer every single comment and question. Third topic, what was the third topic that I wanted to do? Oh, genders. Yes, I have a special edition for genders that I want to tell you. I'm going to talk to you, and if you're putting any comments, just know that on my laptop right now I'm actually looking at my notes. So I made some notes for you because it's so important. What kind of feminine? How is the gender? What's this all about? So gender. So first of all, the most important thing, basic, simple, think like a child. It's so much easier to get anything done in a new language. I'm really learning 3 languages at the same time right now: Italian, Spanish, and German. And you just have to go to the basic. I mean, you can't can't think too much. And so for genders, and German, by the way, has 3 genders, feminine, masculine, and neutral. It's a crazy world. But for genders, the best way to approach genders is to think that objects are people. As in, the table is a girl and is a she. The car is a she, right? So in English we say the boat she is, right? Now in French is le bateau, so it's a boy, right? So it's he, whatever. If you start changing your mind, and it's like starting to get used to the fact that you know, you should replace it in English with he or she, then it's gonna make your life so much easier, like so much easier. Think like a 2-year-old, 3-4-year-old. That's the best, and it's gonna help you really use French and communicate through French rather than staying locked into learning of French. And if you followed me for a while, you may know that I have quite a few students who are teaching French at a high school level. And it's such a shame, and it's so frustrating to know the language so well and yet not to be able to use it. And that is not anybody's fault, not the student, you know, I mean, it's not the school, it's just the fact that you don't have anybody to make conversation with. But know that, I mean, remember the fact that knowing the language is just like an actor, you're off book, but then the acting and the whole, you know, magic comes after you are off book. Okay, that's my word, but maybe I don't know what, you know, really speaks to you more. I think it's like music, right? Most people know music or about music, and so knowing the notes doesn't make a melody, doesn't make a song, doesn't make a heartfelt song or something that you express yourself through. Or dance, knowing the steps of the dance doesn't mean that you're a dancer, right? And so knowing French doesn't mean that you're a speaker or conversationalist. And so I'm giving you so much stuff for free, and I'll continue doing that. But that doesn't help you with anything if you don't actually get involved into making conversation and learning how to make conversation using all this knowledge of French and continuing. And that's what my intensive program is for. So, genders. Think like a child. Table is a girl, book is a boy, he and she. So replace it from your mind, and then the translation with he or she, and then the translation is going to be smoother. Yes, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but well, wait to deal with 3 genders like I do for German, right? So it's still you know, better to have only 2 genders. Now, the types. So how does the gender affect your, I don't know, your sentence, the communication, right? How does it affect it in any way? Well, it does. The adjectives are changing. Adjectives, and because tenses, compound tenses, passé composé, plus que parfait, and all those, they actually are have the form of an adjective, and so it's going to change. And changes in writing. Okay, you're going to say, so I don't care about writing, I just want to talk. Didn't you tell me that you should make conversation? Why am I writing? Well, because feminine actually reflects in pronunciation, and so if you don't apply the feminine and the actual correct spelling of the feminine, wherever is the case, then you will not be able to pronounce it correctly. And so pronunciation is reflected, changes the conversation, and it may confuse your partner of conversation that you have, because if you say something keep masculine or go to feminine without actually agreeing correctly, they're gonna be confused. Wait, you're talking about something that was feminine, but this is masculine. What are we talking about? I'm confused. So the most important thing, again, go down to like 4-year-old. The most important thing is to be clear in communication. Are you understood? You're good. You know, there's nothing else. Do you understand the person that's who's talking to you? You're good to go. I don't want to get into too much sophistication. Of course, what I teach can be, I mean, I have levels of advance up to master degree. So if you want to work with me and to get up there, of course you can do that. It's not a problem. I'm happy to have you. But most people really just want to express themselves in that other language. And so go simple. Boil down the grammar, even the one that you know, in like really simple structures, just like I gave you the example with possessive adjectives. Now, the feminines. I want to give you a few categories of feminines which you need to know. So I'm going to give you examples because it's best. You're going to have a lot for your conversation from this webinar. Un tricot vert, une robe verte. So adjective can be ended in a consonant, vert, which is ends in a T, it's a consonant. And then, une robe verte, the E, which is the vowel that marks the feminine, is added after that consonant. So this is how it reflects in the pronunciation. I was telling you before, why is that important? Because the adjectives and the verbs like je suis allée, ouverte, je l'ai ouverte. Yeah, so you will see the verbs are going to be affected by feminines and masculines, of course, and adjectives. So the first type and the simplest way to recognize that's a feminine is when that E at the end of the word comes after a consonant. Vert, verte. Then un tricot gris, une robe grise. So notice that the first adjective, vert, verte, vert, had the final consonant T, and it kept the pronunciation is a T when I put it in the feminine, vert, verte. But gris ends in an S. When I make it in the feminine, S then comes up, becomes S between two vowels, grise, and so S changes pronunciation. It doesn't even actually stay only, it's not going to be grise, it's going to be grise, so changes the pronunciation because of that final E. Un tricot brun, une robe brune. This is even more of an effect on the adjective. Brun ends in an UN, final UN, and even in the middle of the sentence, sometimes, not always, but sometimes, is going to be nasal. So if it's a UN, I'm going to say brun. But just putting that E at the end for feminine, what happens is that nasal disappears, and then it affects not the second last, but not the second last, but the third last letter of the word. So instead of saying brun, brun, I don't know, I can't even pronounce that, right? So it's going to be brune. Un tricot noir, une robe noire. This is another example, is an exception because the rule of pronunciation is that the final consonant is silent, but in noir, that's an exception. I pronounce noir. So in this case, pronunciation-wise is the same. Noir masculine, noir feminine. But I do mark the feminine with a final E. Un tricot bleu, une robe bleue. Now, when I have a vowel at the end, I'm not showing anything in pronunciation. E after a vowel doesn't really affect the pronunciation, but I still write that E at the end. Again, you may not be concerned too much with the writing, with the spelling, but in French, spelling and pronunciation are hand in hand. And in Parisian French or Standard French, you actually, knowing the spelling, the pronunciation rules helps you write and speak. It makes everything much smoother and faster. So noir, sorry, bleu and bleu. Un tricot jaune, une robe jaune. When the masculine ends in a E, then the feminine keeps that E, doesn't add an additional, doesn't put an additional E at the end. I'm going to have two E's at the end. So you can call it invariable. I'm just going to say if it's a one E, I don't need a second E, and the pronunciation is the same. So un tricot jaune, une robe jaune. Un tricot rouge, une robe rouge, the same thing. Un tricot rose, une robe rose. All those three end in E, and so feminine and masculine have the same pronunciation. And when the when the spelling is completely different, when the feminine is completely irregular, un tricot blanc, une robe blanche. Now, I'm going to, all this transcript is going to be available in the group, and I'm going to add the group link at the end of the webinar. It's not going to be any longer. This is all I had to cover, and I'm going to just recap a little bit what we've talked about, and I'm going to remind you again that you should just go and register right now for the intensive program, because only during this live broadcast you can get 20 additional Skype classes from me on top of the 21 that come with the intensive program. All right, so oh yes, I wanted to say again that all the transcript of this, or the examples that I'm given in this webinar, is going to be available in the group, and at the end of the broadcast I'm going to give you the link to the group, and in the group you're going to find all the examples. Now I'm going to go again to your questions, hopefully. Okay. Oh yeah, Jobbins, I do know this Skype, because you sent me, thank you so much, I appreciate it. And actually what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna delete that from the comments, because, let me see. Leave that, don't delete your comment there. I'm going to delete it. It's just for your safety. It's best not to have your Skype ID there, because you don't want to be, okay, bombarded with questions, or people who you don't know from Facebook. So that's anybody has access to this page. So okay, so I'm going to recap. I hope I didn't miss any comments. 9 comments. I'll see. So if I missed any of your comments, don't worry. If you have any comments inside on this under this video during the broadcast, I'm going to definitely consider you for the 20 free Skype classes. Okay, so don't worry if I didn't comment, if I didn't answer your comment, I will, or your question. And if you have any comment or anything during this webinar and I didn't notice it, that's fine. Afterwards I'll see when you mentioned, when you commented, and you definitely are going to be getting the 20 Skype classes for free when you register for the intensive program. To register for the intensive program, go to learnparisianfrenchonline.com, or just leave a message under this video here, and I'm gonna help you get there and register. You only get these 20 Skype classes or additional Skype classes only during this webinar, or if you commented under this video during the webinar. So I'm going to do a short recap what I have talked about today. The first topic, possessive adjectives. They are pronouns, and they can be categorized in 4 categories. One owner to one object owned. Mon ton son, ma tasse. One owner to more objects owned. Mes tes. More owners to one object owned. Notre, votre, leur. More owners to more objects owned. Nos, vos, leur. Remember that. A transcript with all the examples that I have given will be in my Joëlette Facebook group, and I'm going to put the link on top right after the webinar is done. Just look for comments. Okay. The second topic, what was the second? Oh, it's in French. How do we translate it in French? My recommendation is think like a 4-year-old. Table is a girl, book is a boy. Try to think of replace it in English already with he or she, and it's gonna make it a world of difference for you. And so it can be le la, je le prends, je la mange, or Il, elle. Il est sur la table, elle est sur la table. So that could be it, only in the case of an object. If it's a person, it's going to be a person, right? So just think about it this way. Now I was thinking about that. So just think about it this way. If I say, yeah, I'm trying to say something that can be used for both objects and people. Yeah, that could work. Okay. Prends la pomme, elle est sur la table. Prends ta sœur, elle est sur la table. See? So take the apple, it is on the table. Take your sister, she is on the table. So if you just think about this way, as in the objects are actual, you know, they're not it, they're she or he, depending on the gender. Oh, I forgot something, and I'm going to remember. I'm going to talk about the genders now. If you think about it this way, it's going to be like a world of difference in your translation. How do you memorize the genders? A lot of people are asking me, how do I memorize the genders? Well, you need to. Oh yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? Let me talk about that at the very end, because the third topic was genders and the adjectives. Okay, so I apologize for that, but I think that that's a really good final conclusion. So I'm gonna tell you how to memorize the genders at the very end. And my third topic was genders and how they affect our conversation and our sentence, and they do affect adjectives and verbs that conjugate with être. And how is that? That's not only in the writing, is also in pronunciation. And I gave you a ton of examples which are going to appear, are going to be transcribed in my Facebook group, and I'm going to give you the link to the Facebook group here on top at the end of the webinar. Now I want, again, it's probably the last chance, because I'm not going to stay much longer. You have right now, during this webinar, the chance to get 20 free hours on Skype with me on top of the 21 that are included in the intensive program. In order to do that, you can go to learnparisianfrenchonline.com. If there's any problem, or if you want to stay here and then you want to register, that's fine. Just leave a comment below. If I find your comment below during the webinar, though not after, then I will consider you and you will get the bonus. Okay, so make sure that you leave a comment below, because you may not want to miss my explanation and you may have questions for me. So do that, but know that this bonus of 20 Skype classes will no longer be available should you not leave a comment during the webinar. So after the webinar, it's done. How do you learn genders? A lot of people are asking me this question, and it's interesting because in the English or English-speaking Anglophone world, people found this interesting rule that anything that ends in a vowel is feminine, or most are feminine, and the others are not. And yeah, it's true. Only the problem is that the exceptions are usually the most commonly used words. So what that means is that you're going to make mistakes with the words that you're using the most, and you really don't want that. So, but maybe this is a good news, bad news kind of thing. The way to learn the genders is to consider the gender as part of the word. So when I say la table, table doesn't mean table, or shouldn't. You shouldn't think that table means table. You should think that la table means table. If I say livre, livre definitely doesn't mean book. Le livre means book. La livre means pound. So, and they're spelled exactly the same way. That's the example that you should have in your mind, always. Le livre means book. La livre means pound. And that's not just an exception. This is important for you to know that a word in French really has two parts. Gender, which is le or la, and the word itself. So if I see you in this, on this Facebook page or wherever, that you're saying, oh, what's the word for chapeau? No, it's le chapeau. Or pluie, no, it's la pluie. So if you, like I said before, just change the way you're thinking. Instead of thinking it, think she or he everywhere, and that's gonna simplify your world completely. Then with the genders, always and always think, okay, French are weird, all right, well. So French is weird, and they have words made out of two words. And so if you think about it this way, you're gonna start learning each word with its gender, as in like la or un, une, right? So if you have something that starts with a vowel, put un, une, because L apostrophe doesn't give you the gender. So, or if you want to stay consistent, depending on how your mind works, if you want to stay consistent, only use un and une. So use un, une, un livre, une table. That's it. And so always write your vocabulary that way. Now, most of you already have had some exposure to French. Like nobody here is like pretty, you know, complete zero. Or maybe one person, because I did have a student like that. But most of you already have some vocabulary. And so right now it's going to be, oh my God, what am I going to do? Am I going to learn everything from zero? Well, you know, that's why I said the good news, bad news. That's the only bad part of this news. That's best. So whenever you find yourself that you make an error on your vocabulary, on your genders, do write down that word, un livre, une poupée, whatever. Do write down that word as if it was a new word, because otherwise that's going to become one of your enemies, and it's going to make you stop talking. When you stop talking in a conversation, that's when you become embarrassed, and that's what stops you from being motivated to continue. And so it's a better world for you if you try to do it that way. So okay, now it's the last chance to register for the intensive program. Go to learnparisianfrenchonline.com. If you register during this webinar or leave a comment below during this webinar, I'm going to consider, and you're going to get 20 hours on Skype of conversation for free as you register for the intensive program. This is it. I love you so much. I'm thankful for you being here. Looking forward to having you in my life and this program, and to help you ride this journey with love, not with frustration, with joy, with fun, and making stories and having fun and getting to go to travel. Or now the world is so small because of the internet. Make friends over the internet in France or in Francophone countries, and you know, that's what beautiful life is. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm looking forward to having you. Go to learnparisianfrenchonline.com to get the 20 additional hours on Skype, of conversation on Skype with me, and I shall see you next time. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.